Yeah,
Yep.
dude. This is episode 101.
101!
We're in it, man.
We're in the
This
Dalmatians episode, everybody.
Oh, that's
Let's
beautiful,
get it rolling.
man. Oh, man, I might tear up a little at that one.
I know. We can't wait for number 200. Still got a ways to go.
And we're back at the Sports Experience Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Chris Quinn, with my other co-host, Dominic DiTolla. And we're just a couple of comics riffing on sports, griffing on people, hopefully, you know.
Yeah.
And today we're back on the soccer pitch.
Buongiorno.
We're talking about Roberto Baggio, one of the best Italian soccer players ever, but steeped in controversy.
Very steeped in controversy. Almost like the comeback player of the year. He's like almost Chad Pennington all the time.
Well, he had instances which he shouldn't be blamed for, but was almost blackballed. So, I mean, hey, man, we're going to get into it, man.
Let's get into it.
When was he born? Give me that stat.
February 18th, 1967 in Caldogno, Italy, which is in the Veneto region, which is very far northeast, kind of near where Udine is and Friuli. So he's kind of from that spot and was a Zico fan growing up. I did learn that. So that's where he's from.
Yeah. At age 13, he was like impressing in all of his youth games and all of his youth build-up. So like from I think 10 to 13 he played in his local town, and then the club Vicenza came in and bought him for 300 euros. And this is very common for a club that's in Serie C, because the way European games, or I mean clubs work is like they're obviously set up as like feeder clubs.
Yeah.
And that's what this club is like they go out and look for like 13-year-old kids, and then they give them their debuts at like 15 in these lower divisions because they know they're going to sell them later on.
It's funny you said they go out looking for 13-year-old kids. If you don't finish that statement,
I know,
it sounds a lot worse than it is.
We might cut that one up for me later on. I don't know. But it's
Take a seat.
Unlike in American sports where they have their own feeder.
Yeah, they have their
teams.
own minor leagues. Like this is a de facto minor league.
Exactly, but
like the NCAA.
Exactly, that is exactly what this is. So at Vicenza, he actually really looks like he's going to be a great player. And there's this thing that happens. So he's in the third division. He's in Serie C1. Yeah. There's a Serie C2. He's in Serie C1, and there's a jump that happens from that to the top division, and it almost happens more likely than the Serie B because it's these youth players that are coming up and they see the talent, and they're 16, 17, 18, and they're like, the bigger teams come in and buy them for real money.
Yeah, they're not playing to, get that next step up. They're ready to play in the pros.
Exactly.
And they're recognized relatively early. It's like when you see a guy in like high A ball or double A and you're like, no, we're inviting him to spring training.
Exactly.
Like, this guy can play.
Yes.
So.
And that's the thing that I heard about this especially is like if a Serie B team came in and were trying to sign him, he would have been like, no. Yeah. Like that, I'm above that level, which is just a different way that European sports is laid out. So he goes to Fiorentina, and they're finalizing his transfer. So he already knows it's already locked in. He has personal terms set with Fiorentina already.
Yeah.
So that's what normally happens with a team. They'll go in and set personal terms like this is how much you're going to make each week, and then they'll finalize it with the club. So because they don't want to waste time finalizing with the club if the player doesn't want to come. It's not like American sports where they force trades. That does not happen in European soccer.
Sold.
Yes, so you have to agree to it. So they have personal terms with him, and then 2 days before finalizing it, he shatters both his ACL and meniscus in his right knee.
Yeah. Oh, I know. You thought his career, May 5th,
May 5th.
1985.
Yep.
Right meniscus ACL. Yeah, that's not good.
So
not good. He's 18.
And he's 18, and people were asking if Fiorentina were going to go ahead with the deal.
Yeah.
Because he is touted as this next star. Everybody could see his potential. Fiorentina's going in with a $1.5 million bid for him, which is huge for that era.
Oh, totally, because the only guys who are making that kind of money then are probably like Zico and Maradona.
Yep.
So, yeah, and you're like, well, he's 18, but like, well, his knee just exploded.
Exactly. Will he be the same player, or will he even be able to return? And what Fiorentina said was that they expected him to be such a great player if he came back. There was no reason not to gamble. Because it was a huge gamble.
Well, this is still fucking 35 years ago. I mean,
exactly.
ACL surgery now is leaps and bounds ahead of what it used to be. So, like, that's a scary injury, especially for a soccer player.
Yeah. No, it's... And so he, in his first season, he doesn't play a single game for him because he's injured the whole time.
Yeah.
Second season, he comes back, and I think he plays like 3 games. Mm-hmm. And then he injures his knee again.
September 20th, 1986. Another knee injury. Like, this guy can't escape it, it seems like.
And this one, they said, wasn't as harsh, but it was so bad that he needed 220 stitches from the surgery, which the surgery actually, this is something that he kind of, I read something that he said, he was just like, my first 2 surgeries, I was lucky they went the way they did because they really could have went like shit.
Oh, Jesus.
And that could have been my career. But they went so well that he was able to rehab and be that same player.
Yeah.
And I found this interesting was he comes back from this injury. So this is like at the end of his second season. He has a great game against Napoli.
Yeah.
And Maradona.
Yeah.
But through this injury, he loses a good amount of weight.
Yeah, he's like down 25, 30 pounds, I read. Holy cow.
And people were saying it was all muscle that he lost because of the lack of training. And Fiorentina at this point told him that they were looking at offers from Serie B teams.
Oh, Jesus.
And this is what I'm talking about, where if you get slotted into Serie B, it's fucking hard to get out.
Well, it's like the black hole. It's like being... what do they call them? Quadruple A players in baseball, where like you're just stuck in Triple A.
Yep.
You're late 20s
until somebody like takes a chance on you.
Exactly.
Because there's players there that are good enough to play in that upper division, but they're just not going to get that chance.
And they're older than the younger kids, and they're probably more expensive to sign.
And this, so I want to talk about this. When he injures his leg in this period in which he was going through rehab and all this, he becomes a Buddhist.
Hell yeah.
And this is when, so I don't know if you know anybody that's from Italy or the way the Italians work.
Number one, he basically becomes Richard Gere without a gerbil. As far as religion in Italy.
That's weird.
I'll say this. You know how we have like freedom of choice? They have freedom of choice, I guess, but there's really only one choice because
they're so Roman Catholic.
There is a rotating position in a little city-state in Rome where a gentleman who wears a pointy hat that's been protecting pedophiles and fascists and all sorts of unsavory creatures for 2 millennium. Roman Catholic's the way to go there.
Let's put it in this kind of perspective. If you changed religion to a similar religion to theirs, they would still be flipping out. You're changing it to, like, they would. This is what he said when he told.
I don't know if he went Protestant. I bet you they'd be way more pissed off.
I was gonna say Protestants. That one word.
Yeah,
I know, but
there's a special hatred.
Yeah, there's a special hatred.
Those two.
When he told his longtime girlfriend, eventually his wife and mother of his children, "Hey, I'm not a Catholic anymore. I'm a Buddhist." She was like, "You're kidding."
Yeah, right.
Like, that was her reaction. It was like, yeah, it's funny, but like,
I can't
kidding.
imagine seeing a lot of Buddha statues. See a lot of crucifixes and religious paintings in that country, but not too many smiling happy guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this is why he was such a interesting player off the field, and then this is where he really becomes the player on the field that.
Yeah, he just did whatever the fuck he wanted. That's great.
That's why I loved him. Yes, exactly. He had that kind of attitude. And we'll talk about it later on because he constantly has problems with coaches and management.
Yes, he does.
But I feel like as a Buddhist, he should have gotten that under control.
Right.
But I mean, you know what? We'll get into it. So that's his breakout season is 88-89.
Yep.
He's finally healthy.
15 goals.
It's under Sven-Göran Eriksson, who we see is a coach that coaches throughout the 90s and the 2000s as one of the greatest coaches in those eras. And they attribute this because this is Sven Jon's first year at Fiorentina. They attribute him putting Baggio in this essentially messy role.
Yeah. Kind of do everything.
Like you were saying, he had 15 goals, he had the assists, and the way he played in this role, it just like fit so well for him over the years. So it was this second forward, if you will.
Yeah. And they're building a really good team around him too.
Yep.
I had read.
Yeah.
The team is doing well. They're improving, and he's finally healthy for the first time.
And the next season it's such an interesting thing that I feel like people that watch soccer don't understand, because this 88-89 season, I think they got third or fourth. So the next season they're qualified for Europe.
Yeah.
And when these smaller teams qualify for Europe, they don't have the player base to play both competitive normally in Europe and in their league.
Home country, yeah, league.
So you see them in a relegation battle. So they're at the bottom of their table, but they also make it to a UEFA final.
They do, yeah.
So it's such an interesting contrast in their season. But for these teams, and it's as long as they don't get relegated, it's financially beneficiary to go further in Europe.
Yeah, totally.
So because of the revenue share, they get the exact same as long as they stay up. So that's what this weird season is, and they lose against his future team, Juventus.
Yeah, Juventus is, I've been reading, one of the more popular and better teams.
Yep.
So
well, and in this era, they were talking about the Italian Serie A being the best football in Europe, top to bottom. They had guys like Baggio at Fiorentina. They had guys like Maradona at Napoli. They had all these great stars across everywhere. And then teams like Juventus, AC Milan were still just dominant.
Yeah, Juventus is what, Turin?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep, they're the old lady from Turin. So they lose to Juve, and then this is one of these things that happens in Italian football that is so ridiculous. He gets transferred to Juventus for a world record fee.
8 million lira, yeah.
8 million, which was, I think it was like close to double what it was. But like, or Maradona maybe I think went for 6 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it was a big gap from what the last one was.
Now, how much of a part of was the mafia of this transaction?
So let me tell you his exact quote.
Excellent.
And this is literally because he was not talking to the media, because people were so incensed. There was riots in Fiorentina that injured 50 people.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh my God.
So that's what was happening. Like, and people were like, why? First off, why are you trading him? It's like the Cantona trade where Leeds was like, hey, you're our biggest rivals. You're the best team against us. Why don't we trade you our best player? That's what their reaction was. Yeah. And Baggio's quote was, I was compelled to accept this transfer.
Oh,
that's it.
No.
That's all he said.
That could mean so many different goddamn things.
They had friends in Kansas City, and they were like, the mafia doesn't exist. God damn it.
No, we're not promoting it on this podcast.
So just to put it in perspective, they play Fiorentina early in the season.
Yeah.
He is always the penalty taker because he's the goal scorer.
And he's the best guy.
And he's also a really great free kick taker.
Yeah.
So he's just at dead ball. He's one of the best. In this era, he might be the best. Mm-hmm. He refuses to take the penalty against Fiorentina. They ask him why, and he said, my heart will always be purple, which was their color.
Okay.
So the Juventus fans in this first season fucking hated him.
Oh, God.
They were like, why is this guy playing for us, even though he has a great season?
Yeah, he kicks ass that first year, yeah.
And they just...
That's a good way to make friends in your new place.
Exactly.
Hey, I like my old place better. Sorry.
Well, this is something that I want to reiterate, because why he was so good in this era was he was Messi before Messi. So Messi's numbers dwarf him like crazy.
Yeah.
But each season he was going through this first season with Juventus, he had 14 goals and 12 assists.
Yeah.
Like each season he was so integral into what teams were doing and any offense that came out that he kind of laid the groundwork to what Barcelona could do with Messi, even though Messi was different because there wasn't really a forward in front of him.
Yeah.
And Baggio was straight up that classic number 10. You look at his numbers, and they are some of the best.
Yeah, because the next year it said 91-92. He has 18 goals and 8 assists,
Yep.
and they finish in second in Serie A. So,
Which, that was the other thing was... through this Juventus time, they were talking about they could have been one of those dynasty teams because they were like, I think it's second, first.
yeah.
And they say that right here, 91 to 95, 96 is his best time. So he has another era, which we'll come back to, that is really good, but this is his...
Yeah. His best. This is him in his prime.
Because 92-93, they win the UEFA Cup and get second again.
Yeah, 21 goals that year.
Yep.
I mean, that was pretty impressive. European Footballer of the Year and World Player of the Year.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's established himself as cream of the crop.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this Italian soccer at this time is they had the best players.
Yeah.
It's not like that now. I think I would rank them like third best right now. But right now they are the biggest teams and with the best players, and he is the best player in this league. 93, 94, he just keeps doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
17 goals, 8 assists. And this is leading into... And I hate to say it, but I feel like I harp on this 94 World Cup so much because it was so influential into my soccer experience. But this is leading into this crazy World Cup.
So it's a second World Cup.
Yeah, he did do it in
1990.
Yep.
Where they actually held it there in all over Italy. But 94, you're thinking, this is the year.
Because in 90, he came on a lot as a substitute,
Yeah.
which his coach was actually criticized about
That
this.
they never used him enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you go back and look at it, because I watched some of those 90 games, so I was like, really? Was he looking that good? He was looking that good. And the reason why the coach kept him out was because they said he was too young.
Yeah, I remember fucking when I was an Italian in college, and like this is the entry-level class. One of the songs we listened to was like the World Cup theme.
Yep.
And if you've never heard it, it's got like electric guitars and synthesizers. And the reason they play it is it's like lyrically you can understand the words because it's kind of simple as far as the song. But yeah, that's all it reminded me of was that shit.
Yeah, from that World Cup.
Yeah, from 1990. But go to 94, and it's here in the States.
94, and it's one of the weirder World Cups. So they start off losing
They lost
against
to Ireland.
Ireland, we're going to have an episode about what happens to Ireland, but it was such a... Like, I don't think Ireland... I think they've only beat them like a couple of times before this.
Yeah.
Everybody was thinking this was the Italian team that was going to steamroll.
Yeah,
So,
like a tune-up game.
yes.
And we're talking about another country where your only flavor of religion is Catholicism.
Oh, yes, exactly. And they were like, we're the best Catholics. And they were like, no, you're not.
How dare you, you pasty? What was it I always say? It's like one half of my family is olive-skinned people with anger problems that love Catholicism, and then the other side is pasty people who have anger problems and love Catholicism. So
And alcohol problems.
Alcohol for both.
Yeah. So people are already talking shit on this Italian World Cup team because they lose to Ireland, who's not a great team.
No.
But we're playing
They
great.
played like an amazing game.
Yes.
I remember watching like a special on that before. It was pretty cool.
Oh, it's that one. We might do a whole 94. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then the next game they play Norway, and their goalie gets sent off.
Yeah.
This is how bad their tourney starts, and Baggio gets subbed out
Yeah.
and gets into it with the coach.
Hey, everybody. Just want to take a quick break to let you know that our Sports Experience podcast is brought to you by Engle Studio here, and they're here in Tucson for all your recording needs. Yeah. He likes his coaches.
Well, And this is something you want from players. You want them to want to play.
Yeah, but you don't want him being a fucking emotional shit show distraction. Though.
Exactly, because it was tactically the right move.
Yeah,
he shouldn't be up there by himself. He's not going to be able to hold the ball up. So, like, when they have to bring on their next goalkeeper, tactically it's the right move. And he doesn't understand that.
Yeah.
Next game, they tie Mexico 1-1 and are lucky enough to get through.
Yeah, they barely squeaked out of that group stage, which is incredible for what's going to happen next.
Well, and then I guess the coach calls the whole team in, and they have like quite the heart-to-heart. And Baggio talks shit in front of the whole team to the coach and says, if we're going to win, we need to do it like we've been winning.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing that's kind of people don't necessarily know if this was actually correct, but this is what Baggio said happened in his autobiography, where he was like, I need to play the position I know I can play, and then we'll go out and dominate. And technically that's what happens.
Yeah, they just started steamrolling like they were supposed to.
And that's the thing is he has all of their winning goals going into it. So they play this really physical and great Nigerian team, and this is one of the first good African teams to come out.
Yeah, we talked about it in that Drogba episode. Kind of. Yeah.
No, not the Drogba was later in Ivory Coast.
No, I know, but like that's
yes,
because
we
like
did.
how African teams were like
and they were the first ones to come out and
established. Yeah,
and with Italy going into it, people were like, Nigeria is going to win.
No shit.
And they went out and had it was a really great game Nigeria had. They were winning for I think 85 minutes.
Oh jeez.
And then Baggio scores in the 87th minute or 86th minute, whatever it was. And then they go to extra time and Baggio puts away a penalty, which we're gonna talk about later. So they go to the semifinals against Spain, and Baggio has another double.
Yeah.
Or no, he just has the winning goal, but I think he has the assist on the first goal. So like he is so. And if this is truly what happened with him being like, just put me in the number 10 and we'll fucking win.
He can play center field just like John Fogerty.
Put him in, coach.
Yeah.
And then we see them in the semifinal against a Bulgarian team that I don't think anybody thought was going to.
When I read Bulgaria, I'm like, oh, they play soccer there.
That's why this 94 World Cup is so crazy, because you'll just never see shit like this happen again. He has 2 goals against Bulgaria. So he has the winning goal in these last 3 games. And people are talking about these 3 games being like, if you watch his skill, he's like, that's some Pele type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they put him at that high level. And then they go against Brazil.
I was going to say, speaking of Pele, who do they draw next for the championship?
They go against this really good Brazilian team, and this is the first World Cup final that's ever decided by penalties.
Yeah.
They tie 0-0, nothing in extra time, and unfortunately, and there's a lot of debate about this, whether it's beneficial to go first or second, and I am in the camp of going first.
Interesting. That thought never even crossed my mind.
They do the coin flip, and one team gets to choose, and sometimes teams choose to go second, and you can see the other team be like, yes.
So it's like the home team almost in baseball. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they go second. I forgot who actually chose, but Brazil goes first, and they go up, I believe, 4-3 in the penalties.
Yeah.
And Baggio's
the last guy.
And because
he's the anchor.
He's their best taker.
Yeah.
So he's always going to be 5th. He's always going to be that anchor. And he comes up and he misses this penalty in one of the most iconic images that I can remember from growing up watching soccer, is this guy with this weird ass ponytail.
Yeah. Oh God.
Just to get I forgot his nickname to put out his nickname earlier, but it's the Divine Ponytail.
Oh God. No.
Just to double down on that one.
Even though he's Buddhist, that's great.
He misses it high, and this is a statistic that I absolutely love. This is the only penalty kick that he's ever taken and missed over the crossbar. So he's missed other ones, obviously, but this is the only one that he ever missed high.
So if this were the NFL, it would have been good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Over the bar, Gruff.
So it is so demoralizing, and I hate to say it, but the Italian media really give him shit.
No, Chris, how can you say that? Italians are such emotionally well-adjusted people. Like, when something wrongs them, they just let it go. They just let it go.
And I hate to say it, but I think his religious beliefs stacked on top of it.
Oh, easily. They'll use anything they can. Yeah.
So he's hated, and so he goes back to Juventus, and they get a new coach, and the coach institutes this new system of 4-3-3 and really takes away, so there's no more 10, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And he really uses him as a substitute on like the left wing.
Oh, that sucks.
And people who understand soccer are like, why?
Yeah.
Like, he's still one of the best strikers or withdrawn strikers that in the game, and there was just so much hatred that you see Juventus sell him the next year.
Yeah, they just like quickly got rid of him.
So
like they sell him, and what he does is he joins a local police department and rises his way to the top. He assumes the name of a missing hiker after his issue on the pitch, and gender reassignment surgery, whatever.
Baggio and Einhorn.
Baggio. Together, what? And then they cause a guy to throw up in a shower for an extended period. No, I'm just joking. We're back to him leaving Juventus in 1995.
Baggio and Einhorn. So they leave, and there's this thought that he's going to leave Italy for the first time. And he actually goes to AC Milan in
95, 96.
One of the weirder transfers. So everybody knew that he was an absolutely amazing player.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Juventus just were like, we're done with him.
Ugh.
And it had to do with the World Cup and all of his. He had a lot of problems with the new coach and the management in this last year at Juventus. And this is where his attitude kind of comes a problem, because we see him have one great season with AC Milan.
Yeah, he wins the scoring title. Yeah.
He under Fabio Capello, who was the only non-Englishman. I think Sven-Göran Eriksson, but to coach England, the only Italian ever to coach England. So he's under this great coach, and he comes to AC Milan for $6.8 million, and he's one of the only players. I think he's like one of 6 to win back-to-back titles with 2 different teams.
Yeah,
so he wins the title with Juventus, even though he wasn't a huge part of it, and then this next year wins it with AC Milan as a huge part of it.
That's awesome.
So it's, for him, you can see what he means to teams when he gets backed, when he gets the confidence.
Yeah, like he's one of those kind of like finicky, emotional guys, it seems like, where he can, when everything is right for him, everything has to be right. But when everything is right, the sky is the limit. But if like one thing gets him salty or doesn't go his way, it seems like he'll just take a trip to negative town.
So that's what happens in the second season. They get rid of Fabio Capello.
Oscar Tabarez.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he just does not get along with management, and they have a shitty season, AC Milan, and they make the realization that they want to bring Fabio Capello back. And he says, and this is like literally statements in the press, I'll come back if you sell Baggio, because he's such a problem in the locker room.
Oh my God.
And this is something that I found interesting, was like players came out and were like, not for us.
Yeah, right.
He might be a problem for you. And that's what I feel like Baggio's personality was almost too big for some of these coaches.
This guy is so emo, and I love it. Oh God.
This guy's so emo. Just to bring up this statistic, because I forgot it, for Juventus, he had 115 goals and 200 appearances.
That's amazing.
And that's what people were asking, like, why the fuck are we selling him to our other rival? That was the other thing. So just he has one of the weirder routes in his career.
Yeah, he seems to get traded, or not traded, but sold a lot.
Yeah. So, it's ridiculous. So 97, 98, Capello comes back, said he doesn't want him. They sell him to Bologna.
Bologna. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know why I didn't pick that.
Bologna.
Yeah. Well, I was reading it and I was trying to go on. Yeah, I don't know.
B-O-L-O-G-N.
Sell him to Bologna. God damn. But let me say this: he was supposed to go to Parma.
Yeah.
And a extremely famous coach, Carlo Ancelotti, told him that he didn't want him in because he thought he was going to be disruptive.
Oh, shit.
And there's a quote from him from like 2006. He goes, "This was one of the stupidest moves I ever made in soccer because I literally was like, nah, we don't want 20 goals and 10 assists."
Yeah,
because
right.
That's what he goes on and does this next season.
Yeah, he does awesome for Parma.
It's one of his best seasons, if not his best season. There's debate about winning the Serie A as being better seasons, but he has 22 goals and 9 assists.
And they go to the round of 16 of the Coppa Italia.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
But what I found to be interesting is they didn't hold on to him when they sold him after 1 year.
Yeah, which is weird.
Well, they saw the value and they felt
could get
like
more money back. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
so they sell him to Inter Milan, which was
second Milan team he's on.
Well, it was the club that he supported as a kid.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So he just liked him, you know what I mean? So he was excited to play for them, but again, has a bad time with management and the coach.
Yep.
And only plays for them for two seasons.
Here comes the emo again.
Well, it's
kept at bay.
It's sad when you think about it because without this disruption, he could have been like the top Italian goal scorer of all time.
Oh, easily,
stuff like that. And he could have actually been the top goal scorer and been one of the highest like assists. So like that's what I find to be really a disappointment with his career is like, even though he was voted in Pele's like top 100 living players.
Oh, yeah.
and like has all these like unbelievable achievements. It could have been a little better.
Oh, totally. No, it's almost like Ken Griffey Jr. with all those injuries. It's
Exactly.
Like you're still a generational player, but it's like, man, what could have been?
And it's almost like he did it to himself. So
yeah, not like Griffey, who just played his ass off all the time and got hurt. But.
After Inter Milan, he goes to Brescia.
Brescia. Yeah.
Okay, nice. That's why I like having you.
See, this is where I come into play here, not for the soccer,
Brescia.
but for the words.
Brescia, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
And they just came up from Serie B, and people thought this was a horrible decision on his.
Yeah, because they were like going to get relegated again or in danger.
And he has really 3, but he has 3 really great seasons under them at the tail end of his career.
Yeah, he does really well. Yeah, that's what I found so cool.
The thing that's sad and what is shitty sometimes with soccer is leading up to the 2002 World Cup, he was really a piece of that midfield.
Yeah.
And then right before it, he has an injury.
He tore his ACL.
Again.
Yeah.
And the coach said he didn't think he was fully recovered, though he was playing the full, you know what I mean? So he ends up not going to the 2002 World Cup. And
he scored 46 goals in 4 years with that team, which is pretty damn impressive if you think about it.
Yep.
And final game, May 16th, 2004 for the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's his final that he ends up retiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that I thought was crazy is he ends up winning. So they had such a good season. I think they got like 5th. They went to the UEFA Intertoto Cup. So that this is when the cups start to like switch.
Okay.
The big European cups start to like, they try and consolidate it.
Okay.
Almost like we're looking at it like college football.
Yeah, right.
So we have different kind of cups pop up, and he actually wins. I'm missing this, but they actually win this Intertoto spot. So it's such an amazing achievement for this team who was like nobody.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Post career, I just want to bring this up, is he was really a dedicated Buddhist.
Yeah.
And really a dedicated to promote peace across the world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is what they do.
He was the technical director for the Italian Football Federation, but actually retired because they felt like they weren't emphasizing improving the system. They were trying to keep it the old Italian Missouri, which it's both. You could talk shit on that and not talk shit on that, but yeah, whatever. He has really close ties to Argentina. He speaks Spanish. He owns a ranch there. He is one of the best, nicest, controversial players. So he never got in trouble for anything.
He's not having coke and orgy parties.
I was just saying, he's not Maradona, but he had these bust-ups with management constantly.
He sounds like a fucking chitrul, like a stunad, you know, like his attitude.
His attitude.
That's what it is like, I don't know if it's just me or whatever, but like, if you're a rule-breaking asshole, but you do your job and are flashy, you're almost celebrated more than the guy that gets the job done that has like kind of an icy, standoffish type of attitude, especially when things go wrong.
Yep.
You know, like, because then it's like, God, we want to hate you so much, but just suck right now so we can fucking hate you. Like,
well, that was the thing that I feel like, looking back on his career, was the players that he played with never had a problem with him.
It was probably always the fans and the coaching staff.
Always the coach and the management, because he felt like he knew what he should be doing a lot of the time.
You know what? It sounds like, from what I was reading, he always thought he was like the smartest guy in the room.
Yep.
And for some people, that is a huge turnoff, especially in interpersonal relationships, and if you go about it in that way.
Yep.
So, which is unfortunate, because he's an amazing player. I enjoyed watching him and learning about him. So.
Yep. Hey, everybody. This is just a stock message at the end of every episode. We hope you enjoyed whatever athlete and or team that episode was about. Just want to say, give us a quick follow on all social media. We have a YouTube channel, the Sports Experience Podcast, and we're on Instagram, DiTolla Dominic, and myself, C. Quinn Comedy. So give us a follow all around. We're always recording right here at Engle Studio. Thank you all very much.